Robert Garcia has spent over 30 years in boxing. As a fighter, he won world titles. As a trainer, he's worked with 16 world champions. He's seen the best of the best up close. He knows what separates legends from everyone else. And when asked which boxers he admired most throughout history, Garcia finally gave his answer. These are the 6 fighters who earned his deepest respect. Fighter number 1, Muhammad Ali. The first name Robert Garcia mentioned was Muhammad Ali. For Garcia, Ali wasn't just the greatest heavyweight. He was the reason millions of kids walked into boxing gyms. The reason trainers like Robert believed in the impossible. Ali changed everything, Garcia said in an interview. Not just boxing, everything. Robert Garcia grew up in the 1980s watching Ali's old fights. The Thrilla in Manila, the Rumble in the Jungle. Fights his father would play on grainy VHS tapes at their gym in Oxnard, California. But what Garcia admired most wasn't Ali's speed or his footwork or even his legendary trash talk. It was his courage. Ali stood up for what he believed in. Garcia explained. He gave up his title. He gave up millions of dollars. He gave up 3 years of his prime because he believed fighting in Vietnam was wrong. In 1967, Muhammad Ali refused to be drafted into the U.S. military. He was stripped of his heavyweight title, banned from boxing, labeled a traitor by half of America. When he was 25 years old, the peak of his career, gone. Most fighters would have broken. Most fighters would have apologized. Most fighters would have taken the easy path. Ali didn't. That's real strength, Garcia said. Anyone can be brave in the ring. But to stand alone against your own country, to lose everything for your principles, that's a different level. When Ali returned to boxing in 1970, he wasn't the same fighter. He was slower. His reflexes dulled. And the 3-year layoff had stolen his physical prime. But he became something greater. He became a symbol of resistance, of conviction, of a man who would rather lose everything than compromise his soul. And for Robert Garcia, that lesson shaped how he trained fighters. I tell my guys all the time, Garcia said, it's not about being undefeated. It's about standing for something. Ali lost to Frazier. He lost to Norton. But he never lost himself. That's why Muhammad Ali was the first name on Robert Garcia's list. Fighter number 2, Roberto Duran. The second fighter Garcia named was Roberto Duran, hands of stone. For Robert Garcia, Duran represented something pure, something primal, something boxing had lost in the modern era. Hunger. Duran fought like he was born in the ring, Garcia said. Like boxing wasn't a sport for him, it was survival. Roberto Duran came from the slums of Panama. Poverty so deep that at 13 years old, he was fighting grown men in the streets for money. By 16, he was a professional boxer. By 21, he was lightweight champion of the world. And for the next decade, Roberto Duran destroyed everyone. Lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, super middleweight. Duran moved up in weight and kept winning, kept fighting, kept proving he belonged. People remember the No Mas fight, Garcia said, in referring to Duran's infamous quit against Sugar Ray Leonard in 1980. They think that defines him. It doesn't. What defines Roberto Duran, in Garcia's eyes, is what happened after. Most fighters who quit in the ring never recover. The shame breaks them. The legacy is ruined forever. Duran came back. He beat Davey Moore for the junior middleweight title. He went to war with Marvin Hagler. He fought Iran Barkley at age 37 and knocked him out to win the middleweight championship. Duran showed me that one mistake doesn't define you, Garcia said. How you respond to failure defines you. Robert Garcia has trained fighters who lost big fights, fighters who got knocked out on national television, fighters who wanted to quit boxing forever. And every time, he tells them the same thing. Look at Duran. He came back. You can too. That's why Roberto Duran earned Robert Garcia's admiration. Not because he was unbeatable, but because he refused to stay beaten. Fighter number 3. Julio César Chávez. The third boxer on Garcia's list was Julio César Chávez. For Robert Garcia, a Mexican-American trainer who grew up in Southern California, Chavez was more than a fighter. He was a hero. Chavez was our guy, Garcia said. Every Mexican kid in the 90s wanted to be like Julio. Julio César Chávez went 87 fights without a loss. 87 wins, 6 draws, 0 defeats. Lightweight champion, super lightweight champion, light welterweight champion. He defended his titles 27 times. He knocked out opponents in Mexico City, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and San Antonio. And he did it all with a style that Robert Garcia still teaches today. Pressure, body shots, relentless forward movement. Chavez never stopped coming, Garcia explained. You could hit him with your best punch and he'd walk through it. That's what I teach my fighters. I make them feel your pressure every second of every round. But what Garcia admired most about Chavez wasn't his record. It was his loyalty to Mexico. Chavez could have moved to the US and made more money, Garcia said. He could have lived in a mansion in Las Vegas. But he stayed in Culiacan. He stayed with his people. Julio César Chávez fought for Mexico, represented Mexico, bled from Mexico. And when Robert Garcia trains fighters like Marcos Maidana or Jesse Vargas or any Mexican warrior, and he reminds them of Chavez, you're not just fighting for yourself, Garcia tells them. You're fighting for everyone who looks like you, who came from where you came from. That's the legacy of Julio César Chávez. Fighter number 4. Marvin Hagler. The fourth name Robert Garcia gave was Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Hagler had to fight for everything, Garcia said. And I mean everything. Marvin Hagler fought 54 professional fights before he even got a shot at the middleweight title. 54 wars, against killers, for short money. While champions like Sugar Ray Leonard got rich fighting on ABC. But Hagler never complained. He just kept fighting, kept winning, kept proving he deserved his chance. And when he finally won the title in 1980, Hagler held it for 7 years. 12 title defenses. He beat Roberto Duran. He destroyed Thomas Hearns in one of the greatest fights in history. Hagler taught me patience, Garcia said. He taught me that the world doesn't owe you anything. You have to take it. Robert Garcia has worked with fighters who got frustrated. Fighters who thought they deserved title shots after 10 fights. Fighters who complained about politics and promoters. And Garcia always tells them the same thing. Hagler fought 54 times before he got a shot. Stop complaining and keep fighting. What Garcia admired most about Hagler was his refusal to quit. But even after the controversial loss to Sugar Ray Leonard in 1987, even after the judges robbed him, Hagler walked away with his head high. He never begged for a rematch, never made excuses, never looked back. That's dignity, Garcia said. That's a real champion. Fighter number 5. Sugar Ray Robinson. The fifth boxer on Robert Garcia's list was Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest pound-for-pound fighter who ever lived, Garcia said without hesitation. Sugar Ray Robinson had a professional record of 173 wins, 19 losses, 6 draws, and 2 no contests, 173 victories. He fought from 1940 to 1965, 25 years, 5 different decades. Welterweight champion, middleweight champion 5 times. Robinson could do everything, Garcia explained. Box, brawl, counterpunch, knockout power, speed, defense. He had it all. But what separated Robinson from everyone else, in Garcia's opinion, was his longevity. Most fighters are done by their mid-30s. Their bodies break down. Their reflexes fade. Their hearts give out. Robinson fought until he was 44 years old. That's dedication, Garcia said. That's loving the sport more than your own body. Robert Garcia studies Robinson's old fights with his current champions, watching how Robinson would slip punches, how he'd set up combinations, how he'd break opponents down round by round. Robinson is the blueprint, Garcia said. Everything we teach today, he did first. Fighter number 6, Manny Pacquiao. The final name Robert Garcia mentioned was Manny Pacquiao, and this one was personal, because Robert Garcia trained Manny Pacquiao. I know I said boxers I admired, not ones I trained, Garcia said with a smile. But I have to include Manny, because what he did was impossible. Manny Pacquiao started his career at 106 pounds, a flyweight. He ended his career fighting welterweights at 147 pounds. An 8-division world champion, the only fighter in history to win titles from flyweight to super welterweight. Nobody should be able to do that, Garcia said. The human body doesn't work that way. But Pacquiao did it, through discipline, through work ethic, through a willingness to suffer that Garcia had never seen before. Manny would train twice a day, every day, for 3 months straight. Garcia remembered. No days off, no complaints. In just work. And what Garcia admired most about Pacquiao wasn't his speed or his power. It was his heart. Manny fought everyone, Garcia said. Oscar de la Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito, Floyd Mayweather. He never ducked anyone, never took an easy fight. That's why Manny Pacquiao earned the final spot on Robert Garcia's list. Because admiration isn't just about talent. It's about character, about courage, about giving everything you have to the sport you love. And these 6 fighters, Muhammad Ali, Roberto Duran, Julio César Chávez, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Robinson, and Manny Pacquiao, gave everything. That's why Robert Garcia, a man who's seen 16 world champions up close, chose them. Not because they were perfect, but because they were real.